You're going live. You're alive. Oh my God. Do I look good? I hope not. Welcome tonight to here at TCI's home church at the Jonathan's Refuge in Marysville. Welcome for those watching. We appreciate you guys and your contributions to the ministry. For those, there's all kinds of buttons on the Facebook page and places to donate money. But if you're watching and you're poor, I don't want your money, and we don't need your money, and God doesn't need your money if you're broke. Okay. This is coming to those that have built up those reserves and have good cash flow coming in and want to invest into something. Please reach out. There's a lot of needs and we can help. Tonight, we're going to get into a topic right off the bat about raising the dead. It's an interesting topic. So let's jump into the book of John out of the Bible. And we're going to go to John chapter 11. And I think I have glasses somewhere here. And in the book of John chapter 11, there's a story about a guy named Lazarus who ended up dying. And the story is Lazarus raised from the dead. So then Jesus, again, groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave and a stone lay against it. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, "Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not say to you that if you would believe," and that's the key word. We talked about the word believe last week, and belief is important. "You would see the glory of God." Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me." So the dead guy's back, right? Almost. "And I know that you always hear me, but because of the people who are standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me." Now, when he had said these things, he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come forth." And he who had died, Lazarus, came out, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to him, "Loose him and let him go." Now, he was speaking to the death when he said, "Loose him." Now, we can debate all year. Did Lazarus physically get raised from the dead? Is it a metaphoric message? And you guys know at TCI, as an inclusive organization, we're not going to tell you that it's a factual dead body being raised from the dead. A lot of the stuff that is in the scriptures, from the Bibles to the Qurans to the Vedas, the spiritual works out there, they are metaphorical examples. Does not mean that people have not been raised from the dead. And I'm not here to debate that. We're not debating raising from the dead. The subject's real simple. The key word in that whole thing was he said, believe. If you believe, he told the girl that that's the key, that you would see the glory of God. So what does that mean, the glory of God? Well, let me open up a little more of our consciousness today, because I met a friend in a book. He was dead before I was ever even born. And his name is Wallace D. Wattles. And he wrote a book about success, the secrets to it. Now, I followed some of the greatest thinkers of our time that are alive. And then I found out who their mentors were. And then I found out who their mentors were. And they all kept going back to this one cat named Wallace D. Wattles. And Wallace wrote a book, 3 to be exact, but the one that made him famous was The Secrets to Success. Literally, he tapped into the glory of God that it's talking about. Now, that's a religious tone. The Bible was written in a religious manner. But here's the interesting thing. Non-Christians have tapped into the glory of God in their businesses, in their marriages, and became successful and literally tapped into the key word. Remember the key word? What was the key word? Belief. And so I realized, wait a second, if I actually believe that I can go out and do these seminars, when I was just that young kid who was 21 years old, I had no clue about the world. But I had belief that people needed my product and they needed my service. And overnight, it happened. And so people would say, "What's your belief? How did you do this?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's real simple. I just believed." And they're like, what are you talking about? You can literally manifest everything you need. This house, that we're sitting in right now was manifested from belief. The week that I signed the lease as a Jonathan's Refuge to this, I was able to finally create a home of hope where men could actually be put on the lease and not be kicked out any second. Now, this was not my house. I was managing it for another group. But everything fell apart and everyone was worried that we were all going to be out on the street, right? But guess what? We had what, Cameron? What did we have? Hope, belief. And every day I'd come down those stairs and the guys would say, all right, boss, we going to make it? Absolutely. Do you know how we're going to get this place? No clue. But I believe. I know there's someone out there that's going to buy us a property or give us the down payment or give us a partial down payment or let us lease a place so cheap it's ridiculous. They're going to donate the mortgage payment to the write-off. And I just kept believing. And people around me were literally like, if I was you, I'd start putting that money in to get one because you're going to be out on your butt. The day it was supposed to be thrown out, a phone call came, negotiations occurred, and Jonathan's Refuge was birthed by belief. Now, the church TCI has been doing this for quite some time, 25 years. We're going on 26 years this month. 26 years ago, I was ordained and started this ministry. And I started it with belief. Now, this man was raised from the dead in belief. So my question to you is this with my remaining 7 minutes. And I don't want you to answer, but I want you to think about this thought. What dream have you let go of? What dream did you have? And when I say dream, not just any dream. See, when I was a boy, y'all know the story. My whole face was shattered by the elder, the head elder of the church. All the ribs on this side were broken, except for the bottom one. And his son was the assistant chief of the city. And my dad was the pastor of one of the largest churches in America. And so there was a lot of issues of why we didn't tell the police and why it was up. From that moment forward, I needed a refuge. And I had a dream that someday I could build a place for every Jonathan. And what I mean by that is then when I went to Atlanta, right, I get sent back at 10 to a trip and I get kidnapped in a truck by a truck driver and had to jump out of a moving 18-wheeler of a guy who was about to take me to the woods at 10 years old and do things to me that he shouldn't. And I survived. And then I go back to Atlanta and I'm forced into a gang to try to live. And all the evil starts at 13. And we're moving dead. Well, I can't say that legally. We're moving things that you shouldn't be moving. And we're doing things to try to survive in an evil world. I could have used a refuge then. Flash forward. I'm an adult and I'm working for the Irish. And I'm running things for them as a teenager into my adulthood. And now I really need a refuge. I want out. I'm so good at this bad that I need to get out because I'm going to really never get out because I'm really good at being bad. So I know I need to leave, but I didn't have a refuge. And then I became successful. And then I lost all my millions. I sure could have used a refuge. Do you see my point? And then I got married. And then I lived for 19 and a half years with a woman and lived through hell. And I got divorced and went through hell with a divorce. I could have had a refuge. I needed a refuge. So my dream was the refuge. That was my dream, to build a place where all men and women, all people, all faiths, all humans can come and find safety and find rest. And so what dream is yours? What have you lost? And I want you to honestly ask yourself this question tonight as you go to sleep. What dream do you want to rebuild? What dream specifically do you want to see raised from the dead? Because my Jonathan's Refuge sat on the shelf dead for years until just the last few years. And so I look at the scripture, what the Christ said. And if I was to take you on a business aspect through that scripture and go through the Hebrew and Greek with you, it's going to trip your mind out when you look at the word God's glory. Go look at the word they used for glory. And I tell you to do that because I want you to get into this stuff. Google it, that scripture specifically, and say, what's the Greek word and what else does that word mean? And it's going to blow your mind. It's going to open you up a little. And then that word believe. Look at that word and what it means. Because I want you guys to find out what dreams you've got that you can bring back from the dead. Now, some dreams you don't want to bring back. I used to, when I was a fighter, want to start an illegal fighting ring that I thought would be off the hook. Guy dies, it's no biggie. This is what I wanted to do when I was working in Boston. I was like, this would be awesome, man. You know, you could bring a guy in and another guy and they're fighting, but it's to the death. And they have those. They're around the world. Okay? But I wanted that. Well, guess what? Thank God that dream died. Thank God that dream is dead. So there are certain dreams that you don't want to bring back. But I'm talking about the dream that you really do want to hold on to. Maybe that dream is just finding a wife. Maybe that dream's like Jesse. Jesse's got a dream. When I first met him, I said, "What's your dream?" I asked him. You know what he said? "I'd like to get a job, a car, and have hope for the future." It was some simple things. That's not asking too much. That's a simple dream. Jesse, what did you get last week? Your driver's license. Did you take that car out there and drive yourself today somewhere and take a friend in need and help?
Yes.
Absolutely. His dreams are coming true. He believes he could do it. And that's what I want to impart upon everyone today. I don't care what your dream is or was. Let's look at them. Let's see what they are. It doesn't have to be dreams of grandeur, of changing the whole world. It can be as simple as, I have a dream of going to Tibet or climbing this mountain or going to see this concert. But I want you to dig a little deeper than the simple stuff. I want you to dig into your heart and find out what is that ultimate dream. Maybe it's doing something on a missionary aspect. Maybe it was helping others like yourself, like me, like you. I don't know. Those dreams and those questions are for you, like us, exactly. So I love you guys. You know the drill. Live positive as we go out there this week. Ask yourself that question tonight. What dreams have I let die? And what dreams can I revive? I'd love to hear your replies, and especially if you go on the YouTube channel, it'd be cool to see what people say their dreams that they'd like to see are. We have a Facebook channel, so please reach out. Let us know what your dreams are. We love you guys. God bless. Remember, here at the Refuge, we live life in a positive way. End stream.